Okay, let's now start with question 5 for 25th, 18 November, paper 1. Question 12, we're given f of x, which is equals to 4 over x minus 3 plus 2. Obviously, this is a hyperbola. So we're given a hyperbola, and g of x equals to x plus 2. This is a linear graph. I'm saying a linear function on a straight line. Right. We know very well that when we're given the hyperbola, number one, you need to determine the asymptotes, which is the vertical and the horizontal. Number two, you need to determine the x-intercept, where we let y to be 0. Number three, y-intercept, where we let x to be 0. And we can sketch when we have this, but there's still other things that they can be added there. The issue of domains, the issue of range, the issue of the lines of symmetry. That is a positive and negative gradient. So we have y equals to x plus c and y equals to minus x plus c. Right. When we are looking at this, like I'm just analyzing it, we know that on the hyperbola has two asymptotes. So the asymptote of the hyperbola has to do with the x and the y. So here the asymptote is x equals to 3 and y equals to 2. I'm just analyzing for now. And if we were to talk about the domain for the hyperbola, it means to allow all values of x. So x is an element of the number, but we restrict only the asymptote, which is 3. Then it means same applies with the range. Y is an element of real number, but y shouldn't be equal to 2. But when we're determining the equation of the lines of symmetry, we use y equals to x plus c and y equals to minus x plus c. But with the c, we use the asymptotes to determine the y-cut or the y-intercept of the lines of symmetry. So here I was just analyzing. And in terms of the straight line, we only get the x-intercept and the y-intercept only. Okay, let's now answer the question. Right, the question says, write down the equations of the asymptotes. We have already answered that. The first one is x equals to 3 and x equals to 2. And say y equals to 2. Remember the sign for the y value always, like for the x values, always change. It means here, let me just write this side, it's x equals to 3 and y equals to 2. Then now, the second one says, now determine the x-intercept of f. We know to determine the x-intercept of a function. We have to let y to be 0. So it means we're going to have 0, 4 over x minus 3 plus 2. So we want to make x the subject of the formula. We transpose 2 to the left-hand side. This will be minus 2 equals to 4 over x minus 3. That's over 1. Then we cross, multiply. So we have minus 2 into x minus 3 equals to 4. We can either divide by negative 2 or we multiply by negative 2 on the left-hand side. So let's divide by negative 2. This will be x minus 3. 4 divided by negative 2, that is negative 2. Then we solve for x. So x is minus 2 plus 3, then x is 1. So which means the x-intercept here will be 1 and 0. right? Then the other one, it is the y-intercept. The y-intercept will let x to be 0. So in our equation, we have 4 over x minus 3 plus 2. Then where there is x, we substitute by 0. Obviously, this will give us minus 4 over 3 plus 2. If we work this out, minus 4 plus 6 over 2, then this will still give us 1. Is it 1? Okay, let me just confirm. Minus 4 over 3 plus 2. No, it's 2 over 3. Oh, I apologize. 2 over 3. So it's very important to confirm. Okay, fine. Then now, yes, I've divided by 2 instead of 3. So this will be 2 over 3. So it means the coordinate when x is 0, y is 2 over 3. Okay. Then now the next question, it says sketch the graph of f and g on the same set of axes. Clearly show clearly all the intercept with the axes and the asymptotes. Right, already we have the information for the hyperbola. Now for the straight line, straightforward, because with the straight line, when we have y equals to x plus 2, this is the g. If you get what when you want the x-intercept, it means we need to let y to be 0. It means this will be 0. Then we solve for x, then minus 2, it's x. So it means when x is negative 2, y is 0. Same applies. Y-intercept will let x to be 0. Then this y will be 0 plus 2. Then the y will be 2. So it means it will have 0 and 2. So let's now sketch the graph. Sketching the graph, it will be the graph. Okay. So we have the x and the y. Then let's now draw the asymptotes. First of all, our asymptote is x equals to 3 and y equals to 2. So let's assume this is our x equals to 3. Okay, let me move this here. So we're going to have x equals to 3. Let's assume this is the x equals to 3 here. Vertical asymptote. So x equals to 3 and the horizontal is y equals to 2. Right. Let's start with the x-intercept for the hyperbola. X-intercept is 1 and 0. It will be somewhere here. And the graph will pass here. Y-intercept is 0 and 2 over 3. It's also somewhere here. It means the graph will pass here and pass there. But now we know that hyperbola, when you draw the graph must move parallel to the asymptotes. It means the graph will look like this. So it will pass here and there, but must move parallel to the asymptote. So we'll have something like this. So the graph should move parallel to the asymptote. Okay? Then another one, we know it should be in this side. So it means also it must move parallel to the asymptote. Okay, let me just draw it nicely. Okay? Then now let's sketch the G. Okay. With the G, the x-intercept, it's -2, and let's assume somewhere it was -1, -2, -2, somewhere. -2 and 0 means to pass here. Then the x-intercept will be 2 and 0, 0 and 2. I'm saying the y-intercept will be here, 0 and 2. So it means the graph will go through here. Like this. So you can see that it is intersecting at this point and also at that point. So this is our G. It's the F. Okay, now we can proceed with the question. Right, then the next question, okay, by the way, here the coordinate is 0 and 2. Okay, then the next question says, calculate the x coordinates of the point of intersection of F and G. So when we look at the graph are intersecting at this point, and we want to know the x value, x coordinate of this point. So you can see easily that this x coordinates that we're looking for, here should be a number bigger than 3, this one, and this one should be a number bigger than -2, but less than 0. Right. To do that, because we need to show all our working, I think this will be around 4 and this one will be -1, but we need to show all the workings. So we want to know the value of x where the two graphs are equal. So we have to solve algebraically. So let's solve algebraically. We equate the two graphs and we solve algebraically. But we only want the x coordinates. So we'll say, okay, fine. The value of x where f of x equals to g of x. What is our f of x? 4 over x minus 3 plus 2 equals to x plus 2. Let's transpose 2 to the left-hand side. So this will be 4 over x minus 3 equals to x minus s plus 2 minus 2. This will be x over 1. Then we cross multiply. So we'll have x into x minus 3 equals to 4. Let's remove brackets, x squared minus 3x. We transpose 4 to the left-hand side. Minus 4 equals to 0. Then we factorize. Factors of x squared, it's x and x. Factors of 4, that will give me 3. It's 4 and 1. But here we're having negative, which means we must use opposite signs. So it's going to be negative and positive. So -4 plus 1 is -3. -4 times +1, it's -4, which is correct. So therefore, x equals to 4, or x equals to -1. So we got the values of x where the graphs are equal. So it's x equals to -1 here, and x equals to 4 there. So we have answered the question. Then now, 5.6, it says, if x is less than 3, determine the value of x where 4 over x minus 3 plus 2, it's less than x plus 2. What is this? We know that 4 over x minus 3 plus 2, it's our f. And x plus 2 is our g. So here we want the value of x where f of x is below g. So we want where the f is below, so it means f is below g. Not equal, but x is just below the g. But we need to look at this condition when x is less than 3. It means we must not consider where x is bigger than 3. And where is the x equals to 3? X equals to 3 is at the asymptote here. So it means we need to look from like anything that is below 3 downwards, not above 3. And to do that means we want the value of x where the g it's less than, I'm saying the f is less than g, which means g is above f. And where is that point? Let's try to analyze looking at anything less than 3. If you look at this function here, this is g, this is f, this is g. You can easily say that up until when x equals to -2, -1, I'm to say, f is above g. But when you consider from here, let me just shade it here. Just this area. You can easily see that the graph of g is above f. So this is what we're looking for. So it means the answer here, it will be exactly from -1 up until 3, but not including 3, because at 3, the graph, the function of f, it's asymptotic to the line x equals to 3, which means the value of x where the f is below g, or where g is below f, it's from -1 up until 3, but excluding -1, because at -1 they are equal, and they said where f is less than g. So it means the answer would be from x between -1 and 3. That is the answer. Or we can say x is an element from exactly -1 up until 3, excluding -1 and 3. That is the answer. They've given us a condition, which means if there was no this condition, another answer would be, remember, this is the g, this is the f. It will be from anything from 4 and above this area here. Because g is bigger than f. We're going to say x bigger than 3, or from, we say x bigger than 4, from 4 and above. But we're not going to include that because of the condition provided to us. Okay, then now let's move on to the next question. Then the next question, it says, the line y equals to x minus 1. The line y equals to x minus 1 cuts the f at point 1 and 0, p, and cuts and also at q. Write down the coordinate of q. So let's write this equation. So they told us that the equation y equals to x minus 1. It cuts the f at p with coordinate 1 and 0, and also at q. So we need to determine the coordinate of q. What does it mean? It means this line intersects f at this point. And we know very well that when the two functions are intersecting, it means that point, it is the point of intersection. It is they're equal actually. But what is this line, if we were to think? This line, it is the equation of the line of symmetry. If you look at the line of symmetry of a hyperbola, it's y equals to x plus c. And to determine the c, we use the asymptote. What is the asymptote? It's x equals to 3 and y equals to 2. So it means where there is y, we put 2. Where there's x, we put 3. Then let's solve for c. C will be 2 minus 3 is -1. So you see that the equation is x minus 1, which is this. All right. Then now, to determine the coordinate of p, we'll say, okay, fine. I'm saying q. The line y equals to x minus 1 and the f, these are the point of intersection, because if they cut at these 2 points, it means that the point is. So we're going to take the function f, we equate to we have to solve simultaneously actually. So it means this is the point. So we're going to say, okay, fine. The f is y equals to 4 over x minus 3 plus 2. And the line is y equals to x minus 1. So we have to solve smart place because this is the point of intersection. So it means where there is y in the first equation, we have to substitute by x minus 1. So this will be x minus 1 equals to 4 over x minus 3 plus 2. We need to solve for x. We can now transpose 2 to the left-hand side. So this will be x minus 1 minus 2 equals to 4 over x minus 3. Let's simplify this. This will be x minus 3 equals to 4 over x minus 3. That's over 1. Then we cross, multiply, we'll have x minus 3 into x minus 3 equals to 4. Let's expand. X squared minus 3x minus 2, which is minus 6x plus 9 equals to 4. We transpose 4 to the left-hand side. X squared minus 6x plus 9 minus 4, this is 5 equals to 0. So let's make two pairs of brackets. Factors of x squared, it's x and x. Factors of 5, it's 5 and 1. But here the sign should be positive, so it means you must use different same signs. So we'll have minus and minus. So minus 5 minus 1 is minus 6. So we just disconnect. So it's x equals to 5. X equals to 1. But you see that already from this x equals to 1, we already got the x value of point P, which is 1. It means you have to get the other one. And that means you can take either the first one, the second one. So let's take y equals to x minus 1, because this is the point of intersection. So where x equals to 5, we substitute by 5. This is going to be 5 minus 1, which gives us 4. Same applies. Where x is 1, we put 1 minus 1. This gives, you see that we're having coordinate of 1 and 0, and that one we're having 5 and 4. But all this one we have is the P, so it means this is the Q. So the coordinate of Q is 5 and 4. The coordinate of Q is 5 and 4. I believe you are following. And remember, in this question, did not add the issue of domain and range. So you can also add on, like, you can also do the adding. And some other things that they can ask, the issue of the reflections and translations. Those are very important. The reflections and translation, those are also very important. So there's a video of functions and graph that I've already created for hyperbola. So you can kindly, I'll send the link below. You can kindly go through it on your own. Okay. So we've answered question 5. You see that there's a lot of marks, so you need to make sure that you understand. So especially with the hyperbola, x-intercept, y-intercept, the asymptotes, the domain where we restrict the asymptotes, and the lines of symmetry with a positive gradient and negative gradient. So we can now move on to the next question. Okay. Then in the next question, what do we have? Question 6. In question 6, we are given the diagram below shows the function of f of x, which is equals to minus into x minus 3 squared plus 25. Obviously, this is a parabola. This parabola, it is in the form of y equals to a into x minus p squared plus q. Then this one, it is an exponential, which is in the form of y equals to a into b to the exponent x plus p plus P plus Q. And we know very well that an exponential has only one asymptote. The horizontal for y equals to Q. I apologize. Then now, when you are dealing with a parabola, we know a parabola, you need to get the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and the turning point. But already when we have this, if it's written in this form, there's like the turning point is the P and the Q. So which means here the turning point will be, we change the sign for x, will be 3 and -5. But you can still confirm that by expanding the expression in a standard form, then you use the lines of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry, I apologize. The answer will still be the same. Which means we can still rewrite this equation as y is negative into x minus 3 squared plus 25. Then we expand this. If we expand this, this will be x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 25. Then you remove the brackets by multiply by negatives, negative x squared plus 6x minus 9 plus 25. So this will be y equals to minus x squared plus 6x plus 16, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Then now from here, we can use the axis of symmetry. So x equals to minus b over 2a. Then the b is 6. The a is -1. So it's 6 over 2, which gives us 3. Then we substitute this into the original equation where there is x. So the minus into, I mean, if we want to confirm, it would be negative into 3 squared. 6 into 3 plus 25. Minus into 3 squared plus 6 into 3 plus, I'm saying, not 25, 16. Plus 16. So it will give us 25. So you can see that when x is 3, y is also 25. But there's no to do this, man. I'm just saying for in case, when you're given this, then you can also do it. So we know on a parabola, you need to get the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and the turning point. Okay? Then now we can look at the first question. The first question, it says, write down the equation of the asymptote of g. Remember I said exponential is only the asymptote for y, which is -4. So it means the equation is y equals to -4. So it means the graph of the exponential graph will not touch this y equals -4. I think is the asymptote this. Then now, going through the equation, they also told us that the graph of f, cuts the x-axis at A and C. So they're saying the graph of f, the f, it cuts the x-axis at A and C, which means A and C, these are the x-intercept of f, which means you need to let y to be 0. Then the y-axis at E, it means this is the y-intercept of the f. And D has the turning point. So D is the turning. Already we know the turning point is 3 and 25. Then graph G cuts the x-axis at A. So it means even G cuts. So it means this is the point of intersection of F and G. And y-axis at B. So you see that A, it's also the x-intercept of G, and B is the, I'm saying A is the x-intercept of G, and B is the y-intercept of G. Is the y cut actually. And we know that at the y-intercept, the x is 0, and then at the x-intercept, the y is 0. So the first question says we need to determine the equation of the asymptote of g. We got it to be y equals to minus 4. So we got the answer as y equals to negative 4. And the second question says, write down the coordinate of d. Already coordinate of d, it's 3 and 5. Now the next one says, write down the range of f. To determine the range of f, we are controlled by the turning point. So look at the turning point of the graph. The turning point of the graph, it's 325, which means the y value, it's y equals to 25, because we want to talk about the range. So which means the range of the graph, this graph exists from 25 and below, not above 25, because when we talk about the range of the domain, is the set of x or y value where the graph exists. So you can easily see that the graph exists from like anything to 24 and 25 and below, which means we can say, since there's negative infinity and there's positive infinity, the range of the graph would be y is an element from, we start with the smallest number, from negative infinity up until 25, inclusive. We're including 25 because it ranges from negative infinity up until 25. Or we can say y, it's less or equals to 25. Y, it's less anything below 25. That is the range. Right, then now the next question. The next question, it says, calculate the length of EB. We want to know what is the length of EB. And to get the length of EB, we need to know the coordinate of E and also the coordinate of B. And we know when we see here, E is the y-intercept of the graph of F. So E is the y-intercept of the graph of F. So if we take the function F, which is given by y equals to minus into x minus 3 squared plus 25. If E is the y-intercept, it means x is already 0. So it means we have to substitute by x here. Where there's x, we put 0. So when we work out this will be 16. Minus into 0 minus 3 squared plus 25. Yes, this will be 16. So it means the coordinate of E here is 0 and 16. Which means from the origin here, from the origin up until this point, it's 16 units. Now we can calculate the coordinate of B. The B is the y-intercept of the exponential. So what is our exponential? It's y equals to half into half. Is it half? I think it's 2, sorry. 2 into half to the exponent x plus 1 minus 4. So which means since B is the y-intercept of this function, we need to let x to be 0. So it means where there is x, we need to put 0. So it will be half 0 plus 1, which is 1 minus 4. When we work out this, it will give us minus 3. So it means the coordinate of B is 0 and minus 3. Which means if the coordinate of B is 0 minus 3, it means from the origin, from O to B, it's 3 units. So if you wanted to know the length of EB, so EB will be 19 units. Another way would be to use the distance formula, because the coordinate of E is 0 and 16. The coordinate of B, it's 0 and minus 3. So you can just say EB, it is the root of distance formula x2, x1 squared, y2, y1 squared to still give us the same answer. And we can say this is x1, or let's say x2, y2, y1, or x1. So what is the x2? I'm saying the x2 is 0, x1 is 0 squared, y2 it's 16. Minus, there's a minus into minus 3, which is plus 3 squared. So you see that if you apply your calculator, it will be the root of 19 squared, which will still gonna be 19 units. Right, then the next question says, determine the value of x for which the f is decreasing. Determine the value of x for which the f is decreasing. We want to know the value of x where the graph of f is decreasing. Right, and to do that, we need to analyze that from the graph. F decreasing, where is f decreasing? Right, when we look on our function here, the turning point of D, we got to be 3 and 25, which means the value of x here is x equals to 3. So, but when we try to analyze where the graph is actually decreasing, look, from this point, the graph is increasing of f. But here, the graph is not increasing and it's not decreasing because it's at the turning point. It means the graph is constant or stationary. But this time, at this other side, the graph is decreasing. So you can see that the graph will actually decrease from 3 and above when x is bigger than 3, but not including 3. So if x is a number bigger than 3, then the graph will decrease. Or we can say, since it's infinite, we can say x is an element from 3 up until infinity. Excluding 3, infinity, or we know that we always exclude. It's still the same answer. So if x is a number bigger than 3, anything that is beyond 3, the function will decrease. Not excluding 3, because at 3, the graph is not increasing or decreasing. It's at the turning point. I believe you're following. Okay. Let's move on. Then the next one says, calculate the average gradient. Calculate the average gradient between point A and B, the average gradient. We know very well that when we're given 2 points, to calculate the average gradient, we use y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. It's there in the formula sheet. So first of all, we have to know the coordinate of A. Already we know the coordinate of B, it's 0 and -3. And to know the coordinate of A, the coordinate of A is the x-intercept of either G or F. So we can use any. So let's take the F. So F is y equals to minus into x minus 3 squared plus 5. Remember, the x-intercept will let y to be 0. So it means we have 0 negative into x minus 3 squared. So let's transpose this to the left-hand side. So it will have x minus 3 squared equals to 25. Then we apply the square root sign here. We allow plus or minus. It means x minus 3 is plus minus 5. So x minus 3 is 5, or x minus 3 is minus 5. So x equals to 8, or x equals to minus 5 plus 3, which is x equals to negative 2. So you see that the 8 is here, the negative. So it means the coordinate of A here is negative 2 and 0. We can still use this to determine the x-intercept. I mean, we can still use the exponential because at A, it's also there. So we can say y equals to 2 into half the exponent x plus 1 minus 4. Then we let y to be 0, then we have 2 into half exponent x plus 1. Then we transpose 4 this side, so it's 4 equals to 2 into half exponent x. So we divide there by 2, divide there by 2. So this will be 2 into half exponent of x plus 1. So remember, we need to make the base to be the same. So it means this is the same as 2 equals to half is the same as to the power negative 1. So this will be to the power negative 1. But the exponent of x plus 1. Let's multiply that. So this will be minus x minus 1. Then now the base is the same. So it means 1 equals to minus x minus 1. Then we transpose the minus 1 this side is going to be 1 plus 1, which is 2. So multiply by negative, then x will be negative 2. So same answer. Now we want the average gradient between A and B. So since we know the coordinates of A and B, we can now determine the average gradient. There is a formula in the formula sheet that says gradient of a point of between 2 points is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we can let this to be x1, y1, x2, y2. So what is the y2 minus 3? Minus y1 is 0. x2, sorry, it's 0 minus into minus 2. So this will give us, this will give us the gradient of AB to be minus 3 over 2. So it means the gradient is negative 3 over 2. So you see that this line that I'm talking about is actually decreasing. That's why the gradient is negative. Okay? Then next question. It says the graph of t is obtained by reflecting g about the x-axis. The graph of t is obtained by reflecting g about the x-axis. Write down the range of t. So it means they've taken this g, they reflected the g about the x-axis. So we want to write down the range of g, of t cells, sorry. So we can do this in 2 ways. We know very well that when we are dealing with reflection about the x-axis, reflection about the x-axis, the x does not change. So the x does not change. X remain fixed. Then what changes is the y. So what you can do is you can do this in 2 ways. What is the equation of the asymptote for the g? That was y equals to minus 4. So we can either change the function and say we have y equals to 2 into half the exponent x plus 1 minus 4. So reflection about the x means x will not change. What will change is the y. So if y is positive, then it becomes negative. And from here, we need to make y the subject. So multiply everything by negative. So it will be negative. So y will be negative 2. This will become negative. Sorry. There is the half. So this will be negative half, and 2 into half into the power x plus 1. And this will change and become positive. So it means this function will have an asymptote of y equals to 4. So it means the y equals to 4, it is this side. So this is the y equals to 4. And we know that the reflection about the x-axis What is the coordinate of A? Minus 20, 0, B. So it means if we're having this point, if from A we had minus 20, 0, reflection about the X, it means X will not change. What is supposed to change is the Y, but since 0, it will not change, it will just be 0. So it means the graph will also pass here. And the other one, we have minus, or it's 0 and minus 3 is this one. So reflection about the X means X will not change. What will change is the Y. If it's negative, then it becomes positive. So it means that the new point will be 0 and 3. So 0 and 3 will be somewhere here. So which means the reflection about the X, so it means that the new graph will pass through this point here. So this is actually the equation of T. And if this is the equation of T, the question wants us to write the range of T. And to determine the range of T, remember in terms of range, when we're dealing with exponential, we look at that the asymptote. So you see that the graph is not existing for anything above 4. So the graph exists when 4 is anything below 4. I'm referring to this function. So it means the range of this graph, it ranges from anything below 4. So we can say, since the 4 is the maximum, so we say the range of the graph, the range of T, it will be Y, it's an element from negative infinity. So from negative infinity up until 4, but not including 4, because at 4 it is the asymptote. Or we can say Y, it's less than, so less than anything below 4, less than 4, anything below 4. That's how we can get the graph. So I believe you're following. That's why if you can look on the first function, the G has the range of, remember it was existing from negative 4 up until infinity, because its asymptote was at Y equals to minus 4. This one, it was just like this. So you see that the range, it was from anything from negative 4 up until infinity. That was the range. But when we do reflection, it means the Y changes. If it's negative, it becomes positive. It means the graph will be like this. Okay. I believe you're following. The issue of reflections and translations are very important. Okay. So next question, what we have, it says, if P of X equals to F of X plus 2, if P of X equals to F of X plus 2, write down the coordinate of the turning point of T. Remember, by the way, this P comes from F. So we want the coordinate of the turning point of the P. Okay, fine. What is the coordinate of F? The coordinate of F is D. It's 3 and 25. Now we want the turning point of P. Let's analyze this. Obviously, this plus 2, because it's outside, the graph will shift 2 units upwards. And obvious, if the graph is shifting 2 units upwards, what was the turning point of F? It's 3 and 25. So if it's 2 units upwards, it means it will only change the Y value. So the Y value will move from 25 to 26, 26 to 27. So it means you have to increase the Y value by 2. So it means the turning point of P would be 3 and 27. So this is the coordinate of the turning point. Then the next question, it says, determine the value of K. Determine the value of K for which the straight line y equals to 2x plus k. The straight line y equals to 2x plus k will be a tangent to the curve of f. We want to know the value of k such that when we use y equals to 2x plus k, it will be a tangent into the parabola. What does this mean? Okay, let's do this. Here it's our function. The parabola, we do have the function of parabola. It's minus into x minus 3 squared plus 25. We want this equation to be a tangent. So if it's a tangent to the parabola, it means it must intersect the parabola once. So you can easily see that this is the point of intersection. So we have to take the equation of the parabola and that tangent we solve. So we're going to do this. Okay, fine. We have y equals to minus into x minus 3 squared plus 25. And we also have y equals to 2x plus k. This is the tangent. So if this is the tangent to the curve, it means this is the point of intersection. They intersect at one point. So let's solve this simultaneously. Where there is y here, we'll substitute by 2x plus k. So this means it will be 2x plus k. It's minus into x minus 3 squared plus 25. Let's expand this. 2x plus k equals to minus into x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 25. Let's remove the brackets. Minus x squared plus 6x minus 9 plus 25. Let's simplify. 2x plus k equals 2. Okay, let me just write it here. 2x plus k equals to minus x squared plus 6x plus 25. Let's regroup this. Let's group the like terms. So we're going to transpose this one this side. So we'll have x squared plus 2x minus 6x plus, this was 16, sorry. Plus, what was 16? Okay, we'll have, this one plus k minus 16 equals to 0. Writing the standard form, we'll have x squared minus 4x plus into k minus 16 equals to 0. So you can see that it's in the standard form where a is equals to 1, b is negative 4, and c equals to k minus 16. Let me recheck. Okay, minus x squared plus 9 multiplying. Okay, fine. Plus 25 minus x plus 6. Okay, fine. This is fine. So we know if two graphs are intersecting at one point, it means they will have the same root, x values root. So it means you're going to say, since they will be having equal roots, for equal roots, the discriminant should be 0. We're using nature of roots. So we're going to say b squared minus 4ac. What is the b at the b? It's minus 4 squared. The a will be 1, and the c will be k minus 16. So let's remove the brackets. So this is 16 minus 4 into k minus 16 equals to 0. Remove the brackets again, minus 4k. Remove the brackets plus 16 times 4. This will be 64 equals to 0. So we can either transpose 4k this side. 64 plus 16, this will give us 80 equals to 4k. Divided by 4. Divided by 4. So it means the k should be 20. So it means if k is 20, then the expression will y equals to 2x plus 20 it will become a tangent. Y equals 2x plus 20 becomes a tangent. I believe you're following. I believe you're following. So in the exam, you need to be able to understand functions and graph, because this is one of the topics that has a lot of marks. Functions and graph has a lot of marks. So you need to be able to understand that. I believe you're following. Let's now start with question 7, which is financial maths. After question 7, we'll move on to question 8, which is probability, and also question 9. Right. In question 7.1, it says, calculate the effective interest rate per annum if an investment earns interest at a rate of 11.5% per annum compounded monthly. So here we wanted to calculate the effective annual interest rate when we are given the nominal interest rate. So the nominal interest rate is 11.5 over 100, which is actually 0.115. But here they're saying it is compounded monthly, which means the compounding period is 12, because a year has 12 months. So which means that the formula for converting the effective to nominal is this one. It says the effective interest rate is equals to 1 plus the I norm divided by the compounding period to the power of m minus 1. So which means now we are given the nominal interest rate that is compounded monthly. So it means this would be 1 plus, the interest rate is 0.115 over compounding period is 12 to the power of 12 minus 1. So let us work this out. So we need to round to 4 decimal places. So this would be 1 plus 0.115 divided by 12 to the exponent of 12, then minus 1, and this will give us 0.1213. We need to round to 4 decimal places, because if we round, like by rounding to 4 decimal places, when we multiply the interest rate by 100, it will now be in 2 decimal places. So now we'll multiply this interest by 100, and this will give us 12.13%. So it means converting the nominal interest rate of 11.5 compounded monthly, it will give us an annual interest rate of 12.13%. So it means the only difference is that here the M changes. For example, if we have compounded quarterly, it means the M will now be 4. Compounded weekly, the M will be 52. So it depends on that on the compounding period. So now this is what the question wants us to do. We wanted to calculate the effective interest rate when given the nominal interest rate. Now we can move on to the next question. And the next question says, Karabo bought a computer for 4,700. The value of the computer depreciated, means lost value, at the rate of 18%. We know that we're going to use a minus formula because of the word depreciated. Then it says, using the reducing balance method. What is this? The reducing balance method is this formula, a compounding formula for A equals to P into 1 minus I to the power of N. This is called a reducing balance formula or a diminishing balance. Then it says calculate the value, the book value of the computer 4 years after it was bought. So it means the book value is the value after depreciation of an asset. So now, which means now to do that, we're going to certify. We have in our information, we are given the P. We do not know the A, the big book value we don't know. We know the P, which is the principal amount. Here it is the 4,700. This person bought a computer at an amount of 4,700. Then after 4 years, it will lose value, which means we want to calculate the A. So now what is the interest rate? The interest rate is 18 out of 100, which is 0.18. Then the N, it's 4. So it means when we want to calculate the book value, we're going to say A equals to P into 1 minus I to the power of N. We want the value of A. We know the P. The P is 4,700. 1 minus the interest is 0.18 to the power of 4. Then now we'll calculate the amount. So we'll have 4,700. 1 minus 0.18 to the exponent of 4, then this will give us 2,124 rand and 97 cents. So this means this is the book value, is the value after depreciation. I believe you're following. All right, let's now move on to 7.3. 7.3, it says Nhlanhla made an initial deposit of 20,000 into an investment account that paid an interest rate of 2.7% compounded quarterly. Okay, then after 2 years, the interest rate changed to 7.5% compounded monthly. The interest rate have changed. Then 4 years after his initial deposit, which means after his initial deposit of 20,000, Nhlanhla withdrew 2,000 from his investment. Then now the first question says, calculate how much Nhlanhla had in his investment account 2 years after the initial deposit was made. Then secondly, it says, how much will the investment be worth 7 years after the initial deposit was made? This is one of the equations that require you to draw a timeline. For you to understand this, we need to consider drawing a timeline. So let me just stop sharing this one and share another document, which I want us to look at. Okay, there it is. All right. So according to this, I just want to focus on the questions that we like. I want us to focus on 7.3 only. All right. According to this, let me draw a timeline so that like we are on the same level. Okay, right. Let me just draw it here. So this is our timeline. Start it here. Okay. All right. Now it means we have this. Okay, we'll say, okay, let's now say this is the start of the investment. The start of the investment. Let me just use it. Maybe, yeah, let's say this is the start of the investment times 0. Then at this time, this person deposited 20,000 rands. Then in an investment that paid an interest rate of 7.2% compounded quarterly. We know that if it's 7.2, we're going to say 7.2 divided by 100, which is 0.072. Then compounded quarterly. A year has 4 quarters, so it means we have to divide this interest by 4. Then after 2 years, after 2 years, so it means you must say from, let's say this is T0, this is the T1, 1 year and 2 years. So it means this has happened because they said after 2 years, so it means for the first 2 years, the interest was just 7.2, so which is 0.072 over 4 for the first 2 years. Then they said after 2 years, the interest rate changed to 2. It means the interest rate changed now after 2 years. It changed to the interest rate of 7.8, which is 7.8 over 100, which is 0.078 compounded monthly, which means we divide the interest by 12. And dividing the interest by 12 means we need to multiply the number of years by 12 so that we change the years into months. Like here, we divide the interest rate by 4, we change the years into quarters. All right, then we are told that 4 years after his initial deposit, 4 years. Okay, let's just say it's 1 year, 2nd year, 3rd, and 4th, because they said here 4 years after his initial deposit. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. They're referring to here 4 years after his initial deposit. Nhlanhla withdrew, which means there was a subtraction. Withdrew 2,500 rand from his investment. Then now the first question, 7.3.1, it says, calculate how much Nhlanhla had in his investment account 2 years after the initial deposit. 2 years after so it means they're referring from here and up until here. Look, after 2 years, he was still using an interest rate of 7.2% compounded monthly. So it means we'll say we want to get the amount at the end of 2 years. The amount at the end of 2 years. So we'll say at the end of 2 years. Okay, guys, I apologize, guys. I had connection issues. Okay, let's proceed. As I was saying that, wanted to calculate how much Nhlanhla had in his investment at the end of 2 years. So as I was saying, here it was our timeline. Okay, so this is our timeline from T0, T1, T2, T3, T4, then here there was a withdrawal of 2,500. For the first 2 years, Nhlanhla was given an interest of 0.072 compounded quarter, which means we divide by 4. Then from 2 years, after 2 years onwards, was using an interest of 0.078 compounded monthly, which means we divide by 12. So now the question wants us to calculate the amount that Nhlanhla will have at the end of 2 years. And to do that, you're going to say, okay, fine, because this is a compound interest and it's an investment, we're going to use the formula of A. We'll use the formula for A equals to P into 1 plus I to the N. So we'll say at the end of 2 years, so it means we want A2 here. What will be the present value? The present value will be 20,000. So it means we'll substitute by 20,000 here. The interest rate is 0.072 over 4 to the power. Remember, from here up until it's only 2 years, and we need to convert years into quarters. So we multiply by 4. It means this will be raised to the power of 8. So let's do the calculation. So we'll have 20,000 into 1 plus 0.072 divided by 4, everything to the power of 8. So it means at the end of 2 years, like it will be having 23,068 rand and 12 rand. So this is and 12 cents, I mean to say. So 23,068 rand and 12 cents. So this is the amount that Nhlanhla will have in his investment account at the end of 2 years. Then now we'll proceed to say, okay, fine. Now we know that Nhlanhla will be having this amount at the end of 2 years, which is fine. Let's now proceed. Right. Then this is the amount at the end of 2 years. It's 23068.12, which means that after 2 years, the amount will increase, but at an interest rate of 7.8. Then the second question says, how much will the investment be worth 7 years after the initial deposit? 7 years after, so it means now you're going to add by 5, 6, and 7. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I wanted to know the amount that the investment will be worth at the end of 7 years. Obvious. Now we know that at the end of 2 years, Nhlanhla will be having 23,068.12. So which means that now we are going to take this amount and increase it up until T4 so that we can know that before this person made a withdrawal of 2.5, what was the value of his investment at the end of 2 years before there was a withdrawal of 2,500. So we'll say at the end of 4 years, so we'll say A, using the same formula, A equals to P into 1 plus I to the power of N. Then we want the amount at the end of 4 years. Obvious, the amount of at the end of 4 years, this P will not be the amount at the end of 2 years. We're going to use the amount at the end of 2 years because we know that at the end of 2 years, Nhlanhla will be having this. So it means at the end of 4 years, the amount will increase. So it means now we're going to say A4 equals to, what is the A2? 23,608 rand and 12 cents plus. Now the interest rate has changed. It's now 0.078 over 12. Now, since the interest we divided by 12, from 2 to 4, it's how many years? It's only 2 years. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's only 2 years from 2 to 4. So we're going to take that 2 years because it's in years. We multiply it by 12 so that we change everything to be months. So which is 25 months. So we will substitute by 24. I apologize. So it will be 24, not 25. So let's now do the calculation. So we'll have 23,068 rand and 12 cents into 1 plus 0.078 over 12 to the power of 24, which is 2 times 12. Then it means at the end of 4 years, Nhlanhla will be having this amount, 26,949 rand and 6 cents. No, 2 cents, I mean to say, and 2 cents. Then now this amount, it means it is the value of his investment at the end of 4 years before he or she made a withdrawal of 2,500. So it means now at the end of 4 years, the amount will be 26,949 rand 2 cents minus the 2,500 which was withdrawn. So 26,949 rand and 2 cents minus 2.5, which means at the end of 4 years here, Nhlanhla will be having 24,449 rand and 2 cents. But now, what do we want? We want the value at the end of 7 years, which means now we have to make an increment of this, his value of his investment for the next 3 years. For the next 3 years. And they said the interest rate change after 2 years. So it means the interest rate will still be the same up until 7 years. We'll still use 7.8%. So it means we'll say, okay, fine. A equals to P into 1 plus I to the N. So the A will be the amount at the end of 7 years, which will use the amount at the end of 4 years into 1 plus I to the power of N. So I strongly believe you're following. Why? Because the amount at the end of 4 years, the one that we know that Nhlanhla will be having this at the end of, so we have to make an increment of that. So it means now from 4 to 7, it's just 3 years. So it means now what will be his present value? The present value would be 24,000. Now we're going to substitute here by 24,449 rand 2 cents into 1 plus. Okay, let me just try to write. Okay, it's fine. What is the interest? 0.078 over 12. But for 3 years, from T4 up to 7 is 3 years. So it's 3 times 12. We need to convert it to months because it's compounded monthly, which is 36 months. So it means at the end of 7 years, his investment would be worth 2449.02 into 1 plus 0.078 divided by 12 to the exponent of 36. So it means his investment will be worth 30,871 rand and 48 cents, if I'm not mistaken. So this will be his investment at the end of 7 years. So you are going to find this typical type of questions tomorrow when you are writing your examination. Kindly make sure that you go through this, but there's some way where you can get the answer fast by like not just getting the answer, like not just evaluating the amount at the end of each period, but by taking it at once. But I believe this is the best approach. Let's just go through this for the first time. His initial deposit was 20,000. Then at the end of 2000, initial deposit increased to 23,068 rand 12% with an interest of 7.2 per annum compounded quarterly. Then from there, the interest changed now to 7.8 compounded monthly. So it means everything should be calculated on a monthly basis. So now that's why at the end of 7 years, his investment will be 30,871 rand and 48 cents. I mean to say. Right, without wasting time, ladies and gentlemen, let's now proceed to let's now continue and look at the next question. Okay. Right. In the next question, what do we have? Okay, let me just go to the original question paper. Question 8, this is probability. Let me try to zoom it a bit. In question 8, we have probability. Okay, in question 8, it says a bag contains 6 red balls, 8 green balls, and an unknown number of yellow balls. Right, let's now write the information. We are told that there is a bag, and in this bag there are 6 red balls, and there are 8 green balls, and there are also unknown number. Let's just say X or K. There are X number of yellow balls. Either we use X or whatever, there's no problem. So it means this is called a sample size, a sample space. So we're given a sample size space, which is the set of all possible outcomes. 6 red, 8 green, and X yellow, okay? But in this sample space, now we can have what we call the sample size, which is the total number of outcomes in the sample space. And to do that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll say, okay, fine. We know that we have 6 red balls, 8 green balls, and X yellow. If we add this, it means there will be X plus 14 balls all in all. So we have how many balls all in all? It's X plus 14 balls. It's 6 plus 8 plus the X. So over 6 plus 8 plus the X, it means this ball all in all, there are X plus 11. So what does this mean? It means if we were to calculate the probability, we'll say, okay, the probability of getting a red, it is the number of those red divided by the sample size. And what is the probability of getting red? It's only 6 over the sample size, which is X plus 14. And what is the probability of getting the green? The green is the number of those greens in the sample space divided by the sample size. Obviously, we have 8 green divided by the total, which is X plus 14, which means the probability of getting yellow, it's the number of those yellow in the back divided by the sample size, and this will give us X over X plus 14. Then now, according to the question statement, it says the probability of randomly choosing a green ball. So we are given the probability of choosing a green. The said is 25%, and 25% is the same as 25 over 100, which is 0.25. So this is the information provided to us. They gave us the probability of randomly selecting a green ball is 25%. And now we'll say, okay, fine. The question says, show that there are 32 balls in the bag. So we want to show that there are 32 balls in the bag. But what are we given here? We're given the probability of green. We're told that the probability of green is of selecting a green ball, it's 25%. But we already have this information, so we're going to say, okay, fine. The probability of green is given to be 0.25. But from here, the probability of having a green ball, it's only 8 over X plus 14, then equals to 0.25. So this is over 1. We can now cross multiply, then we'll have 0.25 into X plus 14 equals to 8. We can either multiply everything by 0.5 or we divide by 0.5. Let's divide both by 0.5. I'm saying 0.25. So it's 0.25 divided by 0.25. Then this would be X plus 14 equals to 8 divided by 0.25. It shows that this is 32. So which means, remember 32, we said is our sample size. So it means 32, it shows that the sample size here, we have 32 balls. There are 32 balls in the bag. And if we have 32 balls in the bag, now we can be able to know the number of yellow balls, which is 32 minus 14. It means it's 18. So it means these are 18. There are 18 yellow balls in the bag. So it's 18 plus 14, which is 32. Then now we have the information. We have answered the first question. Let's now move on to the second question. Okay, I think this one, it will require a space. Okay, it's fine. I'll just write it here. Then now, we got the answer. We got the first answer. Now we can move on to the second. Then second says, a ball is drawn from the back. Let's read and understand here. A ball is drawn from a bag. The color is recorded and it's not returned to the bag. Thereafter, another ball is drawn from the bag. Its color is recorded and it is also not returned to the bag. So this is what we want to look at. It means now, they said initially, a ball is drawn from the back. When they draw a ball, the color is not recorded in the bag. So the color is recorded, but it is not returned into the bag. So it means if it's taken, you cannot replace it. This is without replacement. And thereafter, another ball is drawn from the bag. Its color is recorded and it still is not returned to the bag. So according to the question, it says, draw a tree diagram. Yes, this is an example of a tree diagram case. Draw a tree diagram to show all the possible ways in which two balls could have been drawn from the back. Two balls. It means at the end, we want to end up having two balls. Show the probabilities associated with each branch as well as the outcomes. So I think here we need to understand something. We know that all in all, we have 32 balls in the bag. So let me try to, let me create another space so that we can be able to talk about this. Then secondly, it says, calculate the probability that the two balls drawn from the back will have the same color. We want the probability that the two balls drawn from the back will have the same color, Okay, let's do this. Let me try to answer the question here. Let me answer the question here. Remember, in our bag, we have 6 red balls, 8 green balls, and 18 yellow balls. So we need to be able to draw a tree diagram in order to represent the outcomes and the associated probabilities. So we'll do this, okay? But we're going to say, okay, fine. Since our bag has the following sample space, it has 6 red, 8 green, and 18 yellow, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 6 red, 8 green, and 18 yellow, okay? So now we're gonna say, okay, fine. In that case, for the first time, when we select the first ball, we might get a red ball, or we might get a green one, or we might get a yellow one. These are the possible outcomes. For the first time, if we are selecting the ball in the bag. But now, what is the probability of getting red for the first time? It will be 6 out of 32. So it will only be 6 out of 32. And what is the probability of getting the green? It will be 8 out of 32. Then the last one, it will be 18 out of 32, because these trees must add up to 1 in terms of probabilities. So 6 out of 32, we can also write it as 3 over 16. But now listen to this. We want to select 2 balls, but not at the same time, but one after another. So which means that we still have other possibilities. If we got red for the first time, there's a possibility that we might also get a red ball, or a green one, or a yellow one. So this is what we can get the following outcomes. So it means for the first time, we might get a red, or green, or yellow. I'm going to say yellow. So these are the possible outcomes. Then, but if you got green for the first time, we might still get red, or the same green, or yellow. Okay. Now, or if we got red for the first time, there is a possibility that we can get green, or we can still get red. I'm saying yellow. So it's red, green, or yellow. But now they said if we got if like when we select the color of the ball, we record it, and after recording we do not return it. So what does it mean? It means for the first time, if we got red, it means to select the second red. It means now we're going to select the second red from 5 of them over 31. Why 5? Because we said by getting the first one, if we got red for the first time, its color will not be it will be recorded, but we cannot return it in the back, which means to select the second one would only be left with 5 out of 31. So it means green to not be, it will not change, it will be 8 out of 31. Yellow, it will be 18 out of 31. I believe you are following. But if we got green for the first time, to select the second one, we only have 7 options out of 31. Then we only have 8 options out of 31 and 18 options out of 31. No, not 6. I apologize here. And this one. So it should be 6, not 7. Then now, to get the red one, if we got yellow for the first time, it means the number of yellows will not be replaced. So it means to get the second, the probability of getting yellow for the second time will be 17 out of 31. 17 out of 31. Then of getting red, it will be 6 out of 31. Green, it will be 8 out of 31. Which means in terms of outcomes, we can either have red, or red, green, or red, yellow, green, red, green, 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 yellow, yellow, red, yellow, green, and yellow, yellow. So these are the possible outcomes that we can get here. So let me confirm this for the last time before we move on. If we got red for the first time, the probability that we can choose red again will be 5 over 31. Green, it will be 8 over 31. Then yellow, it will be 18, because we got red color. I'm saying red ball, and we recorded its color, and it was not returned into the bag. So this one is fine. Then now, if we got green for the first time, it means choosing green again will have, yes, that's what I said, we need to check, because you see now, I said it's 8, that just has to be 7. We'll have 7 out of 31. So it means red will be 6 out of 31, but the green will be 6, it will be 7 out of 31, and the yellow will still be 18. Then, but to choose yellow, if we got yellow for the first time, it means the number of yellows will decrease, which means we'll only have 17 options over 31, which is fine. Then the green will be 8 out of 31, then the red will be 6 out of 31. So these are the possible outcomes. These are the possible outcomes. So we have answered 8.3. I'm saying 8.2. Now we're going to move on to 8.3. 8.3 says calculate the probability that 2 balls drawn from the bag will have the same color. So the probability of having the balls that have the same color Obvious, if they have the same color, it means it's either it's red, or it's green, or it's yellow. That is the probability. So it's either we have red, or green, or yellow. And now, when we are using a tree diagram, we assume independent. So in terms of independent, we know that the probability of A and B is the same as probability of A times probability of B. So it means when we have probability of R and R, so we just multiply this. So it means it will be 6 out of 32. This is for the probability of R. And again, that will be 5 over 31 plus green. Probability of green will be 8 over 32. Then the second one will be 7 over 32 plus yellow. The yellow probability of yellow for the first time is 18 out of 32. And the second one will be 17 out of 32. Let's now try to simplify this. 6 times 5, it will be, I'm saying it's 31 here, and there it's 31. 6 times 5 is 30. Divide by 32 times 31, it will be 992 plus 8 times 7, this is 56 over 992 plus 18 times 17, this will be 306 over 992. Then now, let's now do the working. 30 plus 56 plus 306. This gives us 392 divided by 992. So let's work out this divided by 992. It will give us 49 over 124. So 49 over 124, it will give us 0.40 if we were to round this to the nearest. So it's around 40%, because to have the same color, it's either it's red, or green, or yellow. So it's going to be 6 over 32 by 5 over 31, then 8 over 32 by 7 over 31. Same applies, 18 over 32 by 17 over 31. So that will be the answer for the question. I believe you are following. I strongly believe you are following. All right, let's now move on to the next question, ladies and gentlemen. Let's now move on to the next question. Let's now move on to the next question, okay? Okay, then now question 9. Question 9. Question 9, it says, on a flight, passengers could choose between vegetarian snacks and chicken snacks. The snacks selected by the passenger were recorded and the results are shown in the table below. Right, if you look at this table, this is it's called a contingency table. In other way, book they call it a two-way table. Here we are actually comparing the gender and the type of snack chosen by passengers. All right, you can easily see that males who are vegetarian, it's only 12. So it's male and vegetarian. Males who are vegetarian is 20, but all in all, vegetarian are 32. And okay, yes, those who like people who preferred chicken snacks are 118. So it means all in all, we're dealing with how many people here? 150. So it means 150 is the sample size. That's why we have only 67 males and 83 females. And all in all is 150. Then the question says, was the choice of snacks on this flight independent of gender? Was the choice of snack on the flight independent of gender? What does it mean? We wanted to check whether the choice of snacks is independent of gender or not. So which means you're going to do this. We want to prove independence here. And the only way we can prove independence is that, remember, if the probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A times the probability of B. If these two are equal, then we know they are independent. So now, this is what we want to check. So, but it says, was the choice of snack on this flight, on this flight, independent of gender? So it means we need to talk about male and snacks, female, and we are comparing that. So let's now look at the probability of male. And let's let vegetarian to be V, chicken to be C. So it means you're comparing male and vegetarian. What is the probability of male and vegetarian? So we only have 12 passengers who are males and at the same time vegetarian. So it means the probability will be 12 out of, all in all, it's 150. So let's calculate that. 12 divided by 150, it gives us a probability of 0.08. Let's now compare the probability of male alone. We multiply with the probability of vegetarian. Remember, we want to prove this. So what is the probability of male alone? Male, we only have 67 males over 150 all in all. Multiplied by vegetarian. Vegetarian, it's only 32 out of 150. I believe you are following. So let's work out that. So we'll have 67 over 150 multiplied by 32 out of 150 as the sample size. This will give us 0.095. 0.095. When you look at this, you can easily see that these answers are not the same. It means there's no, like when you're comparing male and what, and vegetarian, they are not independent. Because if they were independent, the answers should be the same. Let's now compare male and the chicken snacks. Male and chicken snack will only have 55 passengers who are males, and they chose chicken as their snacks. So, sorry, 55. So what is their probability? 55 divided by 150. This gives us 0.37. Let's now calculate the male separate. We multiply by chicken. Male is 67 over 150. Chicken, those prefer chicken, is 118 over 150. So let us get the answer. 67 over 150. Then 118 over 150. And this will give us 0.35. Obviously, you can see that the answers are not the same. So now, we now compare female and vegetarian to the same. Female alone, vegetarian alone. Then after this, we compare female and chicken. And after we compare female and chicken, okay? Female and vegetarian is only 20, so it's 20 out of 150. Female only, it's 83. Passengers who are female, it's 83 out of 150. Then vegetarian, we have calculated it there. Where is it? 32 of 150. Female and who prefer chicken, it's 63 150. Female alone, no, yes, 83, 150. Chicken alone, it's 118. Let's get the answer. 20 divided by 150, 10 divided by 150 is 0.13. Then 83 over 150 multiplied by 83 over 150 multiplied by 32 over 150. This will give us a value of 0, all in all 0.12, which is still not the same as 0.13. 63 over 150, this will give us 0.42, this one. And 83 over 150 multiplied by 118 over 150. This will give us a value of 0.44. So 0.42 and 0.44, that's almost the same. So you can see that the probability of male and vegetarian is not the same as the probability of male and vegetarian. The probability of male and chicken is not the same as the male multiplied by the chicken. Same applies even with this one. So therefore, we're going to say the choice of snack on flight is not, it is not independent of gender, or does not it depends on the gender. The choice of snack depends on the gender, because something that is not independent is dependent. I strongly believe you are following. Let us now move on to the next question. I think this is the last one. Okay, I believe you guys are following. Okay, here we're just checking independence. All right, then now let's now proceed. Right, in the second question, we are told that for any two events A and B, it is given that probability of A and B is 0.12. We are told that the probability of A and B is 0.12. And okay, and yes, probability of A and B is 0.12. Probability of A or B is 0.83. A or B is 0.83, ladies and gentlemen. So the A or B is 0.83, A and B is 0.12, and probability of B is 4 times the probability of A. The first question says, are events A and B mutually exclusive? The answer is no. Why? Because the probability of A and B is not equal to 0. Because events that are mutually, because for mutually exclusive events, the probability of A and B should be 0. So it means we're supposed to have something like this. When we draw a Venn diagram, we'll have no intersection. But this one has an intersection because there is a point where the two events have something in common in terms of probability. And that is 0.12. So you see, they are not mutually exclusive because the probability of A and B is not 0. If the probability of A and B was 0, then they will be mutually exclusive. Here they are not mutually exclusive because the probability of A and B is not 0. Now, the second question says, now calculate the probability of B. We're not told anything about independent. We're not going to use independent here. So it means to do that, we're going to say, okay, fine. We're given an addition rule. We write down the addition rule. Addition rule says probability of A or B from the formula sheet is probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A and B. What is the probability of A or B? Let's do the substitution. Probability of A or B is 0.83. Probability of A, we don't know probability of A. Let's just leave it as probability of A. Probability of B, we are told that probability of B is 4 times probability of A, which means where this probability of B will put 4 times the probability of A. Algebra. Minus, what is probability of A and B? 0.12. So we'll group like terms here, because these are like terms. Let's transpose 0.12 to the left-hand side. So 0.83 plus 0.12, this will give us 0.95. So here we have like term 1 plus probability of A plus 4. So this is 5 probability of A. Then let's divide this by 5. 0.95 divided by 5, this will give us 0.19. But now we don't need 0, we don't want probability of A. We want probability of B. But we are told that probability of B, it's 4 times the probability of A. So it means forgetting, since we got the probability of A as 0.19, we'll substitute here, then we get the probability of B. So it means, therefore, the probability of B would be 0.19 times 4, which is 0.76. 0.76 is the probability of B. Then the other one, it says, calculate the probability of not A not. We're going to use complementary rule. We know complementary rule says the probability of A plus the probability of not A, this must be 1. And what is the probability of A? 0.19 plus the probability of not A, it's 1. So we'll transpose that. No, not A will be 1 minus 0.19, and this will be 0.81. Then again, you need to familiarize yourself with the issue of a Venn diagram, because sometimes they can ask you to construct a Venn diagram of these events. So it's not about calculating only. You must be able to construct a Venn diagram also. For example, here, our event has the following. This set A, and this is B. And what is the probability of A and B? It's 0.12. So it means you can put 0.12. And what is the probability of A? The probability of A all in all is 0.19. So 0.19 minus 0.12, it means A only would be 0.07. And what is the probability of B? Probability of B is 0.76. 0.76 minus 0.12, that will be 0.64. So let's now add probability of 0.07 plus 0.12 plus, so this will give you 0.83 because it's the A or B, this area. And with that, if we subtract that by 1, it means whether it's not A and not B, 0.70. So this is another way of calculating probability by using a Venn diagram, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is the end of the paper. Remember, practice makes perfect, and good luck for tomorrow's paper. Bye-bye.